Seemed pretty good, hasn't it, to beat Bayern Munich? And the bookies reflect that. When you take a look at who's going to win the Bundesliga, you have to put $100 on to win $1. Meanwhile, in the Champions League, they're in the talk amongst the favourites, of course, including Arsenal and PSG. And they're odds on to win the Pokal as they've made it through to the quarter-final stages as well. It's been pretty good for Vincent Kompany, of course, since taking over from the club at the start of last season. Jonathan Tah was asked about the impact he's made.
How do you think the team has evolved this season since you joined, obviously, during the Club World Cup? It feels like, at your best, it's so difficult for anyone to breathe against you.
Yeah, when I came here, the first training session, I felt directly like the atmosphere and the energy and intensity, and the training was like so high. And obviously, when I talked to Max Eberl before I came, and also to the coach, the way they explained me everything was really like, yeah, like you said, we don't want anybody to breathe against us when we play. And if we do that, then it's really, really hard to play against us and to win against us, because our intensity is so high, and it doesn't matter the opponent. It's just like when we prepare how we want to play. And of course, sometimes, we have to prepare as well for the opponent, but it's more about what we want to do. And yeah, the coach is doing amazing.
Is there a point with Vincent Kompany, for example, where you go, when you're just watching him and you go, I understand now why he achieved what he did as a player? Like, what are the things that he has?
Yeah, he had a lot of things, but I think the most impressive is his leadership. When you watch like how people speak about him who played with him, you can definitely see like, okay, now I understand why he's a great coach as well. The way he handles the team, the players, he knows really like how to talk to the players, and he just has this feeling for a locker room, what the guys need right now. And then, yeah, the tactical side and the defending side, especially for me as a defender, I can learn a lot, but it doesn't look like a lot. But there's so many details that he's seeing and adjusting that you just improve.
What kind of things is it? Is it like body position, timing?
Timing, body position, also not only individually, but as a back four, like how we're moving, how many distances between us, how much distance between us and the midfielders, like the way we are communicating this. So a lot of small details that lead at the end to something that looks great. And it's just those small details who make it look like so big, and such a big difference to other teams.
Is he talking about the next Manchester City manager, Nedum?
Well, the news article that came out last week suggests he's not one of the main three that could be up, because I think that was Maresca, that was Xabi Alonso, that was Cesc Fabregas. But I think, as far as most City fans would be concerned, I think the job that he's doing at Bayern Munich and his connection to Man City is one way you'd hope at some point in the future get a chance to sort of test that out. I think the club means a lot to him. I think the Premier League does as well. And when you listen to, say, someone like Jonathan Tah talk about that sort of like attention to detail, it seems like he's a type of head coach, and a modern head coach, which will be going forward within this world of football. So, yeah, maybe this isn't the right time, but that's because he's doing such a great job for one of the biggest clubs in world football, in Bayern Munich. And I'm sure until, they're winning league titles year in, year out again, and he's perhaps won the Champions League, maybe he won't be satisfied there. So I think, given the fact he's only 40 years old, it's time to wait. But when he arrives, should he arrive, I'm sure he'll be more than ready.
Can I just ask him who he wants? His best friend, Vincent, or someone else?
Yeah.
Do I want Vincent Kompany to manage Man City?
Who would you choose?
Yeah.
No, who would you choose, though?
Of those three, I think, for me, I'd see Maresca do it at City before as an assistant coach. That's fine. But I would actually quite like to see something a bit different, and I would go for Cesc Fabregas.
A minute.
I think even though he's doing the job at Como that not many people are like really that impressed with, I think he's transformed the way that side has played from last year where it was fighting relegation to being in around European places now. And again, he's one of those like head coaches, like Kompany, who's obsessed with like attention to detail, like obsessed with the game itself. I think he's got like a great personality to try and lead at that sort of position. And, you know, he's played for some of the biggest clubs in Europe as well. So I think that could be a nice little introduction for him to come to the Premier League, test himself, but with the sort of confidence and the resources to be successful. But, you know, that's an ideal, maybe his third choice.
But Kompany would be,
for me,
if there was a short list
him.
of 4, Kompany wouldn't be number 1 on your list.
Kompany would be number 1 without question. I don't think there'd be many City supporters who would say it's not right. I think maybe when he was like coming through at Burnley, maybe that was an issue. But to do a great job like he's doing at Bayern Munich, and you say, oh, it's easy, it's Bayern, you should be winning the leagues all the time. But it's the way that he's done it that's been very, very impressive. So I think Kompany number 1, and for me, Fabregas too.
Yeah.
And if he did come back to England, we wouldn't be having any of this Vanson nonsense. Trust me.
None of the Desiree Vans.
There'd be none of this Vanson German. That's how we. Look, I think
putting arguments across. The Kompany one's very strong, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Alonso could be strong. You know, Maresca for his. I don't know, there's something about him. I don't know if that's got any longevity. Come in and probably start moaning and groaning about something. I think the Vincent Kompany scenario was slightly tainted by his time at Burnley, the season they were in the Premier League. And I think whilst you could accuse him of, you know, Burnley were relegated and blah, 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 I think what he was then was, rather than being a bad coach, was naive as a young manager. He naively wanted to come up, because they had won the championship with X amount of points and played this great football.
Yeah.
And he believed he could come up and do the same in the Premier League, and they got found out. So I think the one thing you could have accused him then is his inexperience in management, of being naive. I don't think that painted him as a bad coach. It just, he'd have to learn from that it's a sort of horses for courses, and obviously the way that he wants to play, he can implement that much easier at the highest level with better players than what he would. So I think that's the one criticism of him at Burnley. But at no point did you say, well, I don't think he's a very good manager or coach. It's just, I think he went about that all the wrong way. And luckily for him, it never knocked his stock and he got this opportunity.
Yeah, if he was one of the 4, I would go with.
Who would have a?
But you wouldn't have said.
Who would have a?
I wouldn't have said that one.
Right, but here's the thing, Nedum. If this was a sell to the Man City fans without the Bayern Munich job, and it was kind of off the back of Burnley, how much does that change it, or would that have changed it?
Yeah, I think it changes a lot, to be honest, because I think the Bayern Munich job, in terms of, say, jobs in and around Europe, is one of the trickiest because the bar is so high. You know, they're expected to be successful and expected to do it in a certain manner as well. And I think the fact that he's gone there, I think he's doing very well to manage up towards the board, coach down to the players. And then I think, speaking with Archie as well, he manages the media really, really well as well. So I think he has the personality for that type of situation to be at the forefront of something that is significant, to where like success is the only sort of like thing you can celebrate as such. So I think if it was off the back of Burnley, people would have had their doubts. You know, would he be able to deal with a different type of player? Because yes, Burnley had some good players, but they didn't have like internationals from the front all the way to the back. People who've won the Champions League before, people who've won Premier Leagues before. But now he's playing and he's coaching, you know, some of the most significant players from Europe and around the world for Bayern Munich, with that pressure of having to essentially win every single game. You go on a run where you don't win a couple of games, it's a crisis. Like, in some ways you could argue that's kind of Man City in the Premier League. So yes, without that trip over to Munich and the success that he's had, maybe there'd be a few more questions and people did want him to come back. But I don't think he'd be coming back with the same sort of fanfare as he would do, for example, if he was to come this summer, which I don't think is going to happen, by the way. But if he does arrive in the future, you know, I think there'll be a lot of very, very excited parties as opposed to doubters.
Say Pep leaves, Slot leaves. Who would you expect to be the better coach? Xabi Alonso at Liverpool or Vincent Kompany at City?
Put your feet up for this one.
That's a tough one.
Set your timer.
I would have to go with Kompany.
Really?
You know, all the things Craig's talking about with Burnley, I get that, but you know, the one problem I didn't know whether he would handle it at Bayern Munich was the size of the club and the status of the players. You know, at the end of the, too many people get caught up on coaching. Listen, there are basics of coaching. Yes, there are people like Pep, Mourinho at his pomp, who do little things that nobody thinks about. But generally, coaching isn't. It's about your X's and O's, your basics. The biggest clubs, it's about handling the players the right way, picking the right team, and handling upstairs. And Kompany has absolutely proven at Bayern Munich that he can do all of those. So Alonso's gone to Real Madrid and hasn't been able to control the players. So why would I not go with Kompany?
That's apples and oranges, Stevie. They're much more difficult.
But at the same time, if you're putting an argument forward, the answer to the question, did he deal with the players, is no. And Kompany's is 100% yes.
We're clipping off all these negatives you said about Alonso over the last few weeks, ready for any time.
I just go with facts, Danny boy.